What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark back from MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and it's March Madness. But that means for me is I'm trying to find 31 excellent Netflix movies. And I'm doing pretty good so far. I found a bunch of movies. I'm rewatching movies that I've seen before, starting off with the ones that I know for sure, that I'm like, yes, I need to get a review up of this. I need to talk about this movie. And today, I need to talk about The Trial of the Chicago 7 because, oh my Jesus, this movie still... Aaron Sorkin is one of the greatest writers we've ever had and ever will have. That is my hot take. So click like and subscribe as I dive into this. I'm a blind film critic. I talk a lot about audio description accessibility, which are often things that these companies that have DEI initiatives, those are the branches within these companies that frequently would think about accessibility for people like me. Well, now they're being eliminated. They're being set on fire, and everybody's running away from DEI and disabled people like, I don't know, we have the plague. So it's not cool anymore to be inclusive. We've made it a thing. So I guess now I have to be an influencer. So it's between begging for subscribers or starting to do TikTok challenges. So I don't, it's really hard for me to ghost ride the whip. Are kids still doing that? I aged the fuck out of myself with that. But I don't know, it'll probably come back around. So a lot of times things come back around. I'm still waiting for slap bracelets. Like, have those come back around yet? Because I'm still waiting for those. They were just used in Yellow Jackets, and I'm like, yes, somebody's gonna find them, and somebody's gonna start doing slap bracelets again. So, anyway, this is Aaron Sorkin's writer-directorial effort for Netflix based on a true story. It's got a hell of a cast. It was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and also for Best Supporting Actor for Sacha Baron Cohen. Although, honestly, I forgot what else came out this year, but they could have had 5 supporting actor nominees. I don't think anybody would have noticed. I think, wow, that's weird. But you've got Jeremy Strong, you've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Eddie Redmayne, we've got Frank Langella's in here, Mark Rylance. It has an astounding cast to it. Yahya Abdul-Mateen. I'm not gonna remember everybody, am I? Nope. That's a lot of people. As is, I think I said Michael Keaton. I don't know if I said Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton. And it is this politically charged trial where there was a riot, you may call it that, if you so choose, outside of the Democratic Convention that was in Chicago the year that Hubert Humphreys was nominated to go up against Nixon following Johnson. Bobby Kennedy had been shot, so we lost our top choice and we got stuck with Hubert Humphreys. So some people were not happy, and we were also in the Vietnam War, and there were a lot of anti-Vietnam War protesters there. And so it's Nixon takes office, and his people start getting together, and they go after these 7 people, and it shows how they're using this obscure law that was created a long time ago. As Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character points out, that law was created by Southerners to go after black people. It's never been applied in the way in which you're trying to apply it, and I don't know that it will be able to be. And the guy's like, well, Marshall, Mitchell is the one, tells him, well, yeah, that's your job. That's what I expect of you, is to do it. So he has to put these men on trial. So it's the Chicago 7, as they're referred to, which are 7 quote-unquote activists. And they've also roped in the leader of the Black Panthers is also on trial, even though he's never met them. He's being denied counsel. There's a lot of things that are really problematic that Aaron Sorkin points out that um, are just shockingly like, what about our history? Like, I mean, he even tries to represent himself at some point. Frank Langella is like the Darth Vader of courtroom drama villains. He has his epic status in this is like, he will give you anxiety and rage. He's such clearly a biased judge. I can't think of a more biased judge in a movie than Frank Langella openly is in this movie. um, at one point, he has one of the 8 defendants taken into another room and beaten. Just there's people in court too. Like, there are people in court, like regular people are in court. There's a jury, like other people. He doesn't care. He just, and that's kind of when Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like, man, you just kind of fucked that case for me. So yeah, he's clearly an impossible to sway judge who keeps yelling about certain things and clearly has his mind made up that these people are going to be guilty, and good luck. So their attorney, played by Mark Rylance, has a hell of a job trying to figure out how to get them off, how to get anything through this judge who overrules everything, or sustains and gets and puts everything and won't let them introduce things. And there's a scene where Michael Keaton is about to have this explosive testimony, but he removes the jury from the room so they can't hear it, and then he decides not to include Michael Keaton's testimony, which basically says these men are not guilty. Yup. And he's like, nope, not including that. That's not relevant. What? So, you do get sort of like at the end, you get like a what happened to these guys type of thing, and at least what happened to the main ones. There are these 2 guys. See, only a couple of them are actually like really focused on. There are like 2 that are thrown on to the 7 that are like, why are we here? And Sasha calls it out and says exactly why they're here. He knows exactly why they're there. He's much smarter than everyone else. And people just don't give him credit. They think he's just like this aloof lefty, But when he finally sits down and levels with everybody, he clearly has everything that he understands. And yeah, so lots of great performances. I really love Sacha Baron Cohen in this. I'm glad he got the nomination. I really think Frank Langella, who also got a Golden Globe nomination for this, but not a acting nomination, I think he deserved one, because his judge is absolutely nuts. He is seriously, I mean, I know this is like a pandemic movie, so people didn't quite watch as much of it as we look down on pandemic movies. We're like, oh, this was the time. I think this lost to Nomadland. So yeah, I wish this movie had done just a little bit better. It didn't quite get the kind of critical acclaim and love. People obviously weren't quite on board with giving Aaron Sorkin as many director nominations, although he ends up with a DGA nomination, by the way, after some other groups just kept ignoring him and lots of critics groups didn't have him in director. Turned out the Guild was ready to recognize him for his work. Throughout awards season, the only 3 actors to be individually recognized anywhere that I found out seemed to be in any place of note were Sasha, Frank, and Mark Rylance. All 3 did excellent jobs. I really like Jeremy Strong in this too. And I can see why Eddie Redmayne would be left, just when you're thinking about how, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, when you think about how many other people are here. They don't quite have the showy moments and the showy roles. Eddie kind of gets a moment right towards the end. But yeah, at a certain point, you have so many actors around you that are doing killer work that it's a great film if you love acting. If you love courtroom dramas, if you love those moments and you want to be angry. This film made me angry again. I was like legit into it. Like, I'd seen this movie before and I was like, oh fuck this judge. Yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm just like, oh god damn it. I mean, like, it had me all the way back in, and reminded me everything that I love about this movie the first time around. Of course, I think I've loved everything that Aaron Sorkin's ever written. So I I don't know. I think that's probably true. I think he's, like I said, I think he's one of the best writers that we have alive. He writes excellent dialogue. It's very quick. It's very fast. It's very pointed. He gets his message across. There's a reason why people loved West Wing and why it worked, and he's used that to transfer into everything from The Social Network all the way up to here. So I mean, he keeps writing things and knocking them out of the park, and I think really this is an excellent script, which he was nominated for. Of course, like pretty much anywhere, he got nominated at least for screenplay, because people were willing to give him a screenplay nomination. But the acting, this was the winner of SAG Ensemble this year, because of duh. Like, it's really hard not to look at it and go, yep, that's an excellent ensemble, but it's definitely getting SAG Ensemble. And it's a film that screams ensemble too. It's really a film that bounces between and has no clear lead. It's really hard. Like, nobody seems more featured than anybody else. And yeah, you wouldn't be able to pull somebody out and say, well, that person was the, no, they weren't. Nobody's really the center character to this movie. So it's a great exploration of history, and the fact that I love the movie so much. It was like watching it for the first time again. It wasn't just like revisiting a film that I liked. Like, I knew where this movie was headed, and I was still, every time with the judge, I was like, damn you. I was really into it like the first time. And so yeah, this is absolutely my jam. It's absolutely my thing. Highly recommend. If I ever get a Netflix to a movie to a desert island, it might be this one. Like, I don't like to say a movie's a desert island movie until it's like broken at least 5 times, like 5 rewatches. Like, it has to be the kind of film that I sit down and I put on and I could just enjoy. That's what I mean when I say it's a desert island movie. A thing that I sort of appropriate from High Fidelity, his Desert Island Top 5. I'm basically saying that, but I'm not using top 5 because I have more than 5. He probably does too in that movie, but the movie would be too long if he, if he went for more than top 5 on everything. So great performances. If you haven't seen it, please do. The audio description, it's not great. I'm not gonna lie. There are parts of it that are okay. There are also parts of it where I was like, there could be audio description here. Especially sort of like in the riot scenes where like the most physicality is happening. The thing is that they have some scenes, and there's like what I would call crowd chatter. It's sort of like indecipherable. Like, people are talking, but it's a lot of like, oh, you go over there, oh, you gotta go get it, and it's not really like, there's some of that, and it's not audio. Like, you could put audio description through something like that, especially considering that's literally the most action the movie has. To give a point to this as to how important those scenes are, to just go ahead and railroad, just go ahead and drop it. drop that audio description on there. Just right on top of those bumblings. I grant you permission. This film was nominated at the Screen Actors Guild for Best Stunt Ensemble. It's a courtroom drama. They're mostly in the court the whole time. So if you're thinking about how could the trial of the Chicago 7 be nominated for Best Stunt Ensemble, you gotta wonder, isn't there a scene that defines that moment? Because they're definitely not rewarding the stunt ensemble for sitting in chairs in a courtroom. That's not what they're rewarding. So there's obviously a riot sequence, and I felt the riot sequence was very under described. So, and I know because people are shouting and they're talking and they're that seems like dialogue. It's not dialogue. That's just random shouting. And that's probably the most that's the most physicality that's happening in the entire movie, and we're not getting description for it. It's really weird. So I would say not my favorite audio description track, because there's some times where it's like, this is the most action you have in the entire film, and was so much that it got nominated for Stunt Ensemble. And there's the least amount of audio description in this moment. Anyway, so yeah, that would be what I would use to gauge. Otherwise, I don't know, parts of it does a good job of like who's who and characters and stuff like that. But man, when the action rises, the audio description falls. So, but I love this movie. I'm giving The Trial of the Chicago 7 an A. Oh, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.